Buenos días. Guten Morgen. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me into your homes today. I feel very honored to have been invited to Creative Morning Vancouver and share with you my purpose. Oh boy, I'm nervous. More nervous than any time, and I've done a lot of crazy things, but thank you. And I have done I don't talk forever because people know that I can talk and talk and talk. So again, thank you so much. So sometimes you'll see me looking down. It's just to keep in track and don't keep you here all morning. For most of us, achieving is a big dream. And achieving this is not an easy task. We will always find challenges. We will find setbacks and puzzles to solve. Today, I find myself working towards a big dream, the biggest challenge I've ever had. My achievements and setbacks are driven by the force that pushed me to pursue my purpose. I was born in Mexico, and I loved the water since before I can remember. That's what my parents tell me. I enjoyed it so much, but unfortunately, at age 2, I saw my little friend drown in front of me. My parents say that I didn't want to go not even close to any water. One day at 6, I was back enjoying it. The 1906 Olympic Games were held in Mexico, and I watched a Mexican swimmer win the gold. Exciting. I went home, I took a piece of paper and I wrote, I want to go to the Olympics. No, I actually crossed it out. I said, I will go to the Olympics. I will win the gold. That's what changed my lifestyle. I was a very, very committed swimmer. Many times I missed family trips, parties, field trips, but I never missed a practice. I was always there towards following my dream, doing everything that was on my part. But I swam competitive for 20 years. I didn't make the Olympics. One or the other reason. I think I had endurance to give away. I was just not born to be fast, to be at the Olympics. So that didn't discourage me because cycle after cycle of the Olympics, I trained and I was committed. Here I was, and I trained for the 76 Olympics and for the 80 Olympic cycles. And here came a moment of an opportunity that I had by destiny. And I will probably say today too many times destiny, but I know it was destiny who put me in front of my eyes instead of a swim practice, I swim it with fins. And oh boy, did that ever change my life. Suddenly, I was the first Mexican to represent Mexico internationally in fin swimming. There was open water swimming, there was indoor swimming in the pool, there was distance. I was so excited. I was a competitive fin swimmer for 6 years. And I think somehow in a way that fulfilled my dream because I went to the World Championship, which was for fin swimming, just like the Olympics. I trained for a few more years and lived without thinking about that Olympic goal. And today I tell you, the closest I got to the Olympics was to marrying my husband, which is an Olympian. So my husband was also submerged in swimming, and together we did many, many crazy things. So one day when he was my coach, also for fin swimming, he was my coach, I told him the dream I had. I have no idea when this dream occurred to me. It was probably one of the times that I was flying over Europe visiting family, that the captain said, look down, there's the English Channel. I don't remember when, but I put that in my head. I said, I will swim the English Channel. It was there, it was a dream. And how could I make that happen? So I put myself a time limit. I said, when I retire, I will swim the English Channel. So here I come. It is 1985. I have a spot to swim the channel. I started training, very specific training. I stayed for hours. I swam 5, 6, 10 hours in a cold pool. We did experiments, how to feed, how to drink, what to eat. I went to lakes. I swam at nighttime. It was very cold, but it was very dangerous. Like I just felt I was afraid, but I did it. I was following my dream. I actually even made homework. I sat down doing my homework in my ice bath that I prepared myself at home in a bathtub. And when I was able to just handle that cold water, I started to buy ice bags with ice cubes and dumped them into the water and sat there for hours. I was just dreaming. When my friends noticed what I was doing and I was sitting in cold ice baths, they just thought I had gone completely crazy. But living in Mexico City, that was my closest I could get to be and have the feeling of the cold water from the English Channel. So I was actually 24 years old when I was getting ready to swim the channel. But I realized that it wasn't just that what I was practicing. It wasn't just that moment where I was swimming and training very specific for the channel, yes. But no, my training was all those years, all those 20 years before me, where I was training day after day to reach a goal. As I said, I don't think there was many other swimmers who had that endurance. I could just go 4 hours. What did I do? I remember I sang, I studied, I thought, I swam. I enjoyed every stroke. I was, back then actually, this is 1985. Open water was not very well known. So only 430 swimmers from around the world had swum the English Channel. Only 4 Mexican men had done it. So I was going to be the first Mexican woman, the 5th Mexican. Later, many years after, I noticed I would have been also the first German woman. So here I am. I don't know if some of you know, but the English Channel is known as the Mount Everest of open water. Still now, when open water is so popular and there's so many swims, the channel is the channel. The channel is an adverse body of water where there is huge currents, where the tides change enormously, where you have to plan your swim, when you go, when you start, to be able to touch the other side of the land. It is 32 kilometers in a straight line, and there's very strict rules for the English Channel Swimming Association. You're only allowed to swim with 1 suit. You're allowed to swim with 1 swim cap and 1 pair of goggles. Nothing to keep you warm. You only rub yourself Vaseline on your body, just for the rubbing. So here I am. I'm ready. I want to conquest the English Channel. And what I did is I waited and waited. We were there for over a month. That year, I think I have a full respect for nature. Nature is powerful, very powerful. And at any moment, I want to lose respect for it. That year, everybody usually trains for a 15, 16 Celsius water temperature. I'm talking about 85. Now it's changed. So it wasn't 15, 16 Celsius what I had trained for. The water was 12, 13 Celsius. And for that long time that you would spend in the water by crossing those 32 kilometers, that had a big effect. So there was not many pilots. There were not many swimmers that were being taken out. We were all waiting for over a month. We were running out of money. We actually shared the same bed and breakfast with other swimmers. We became a swimming family of solo swimmers who wanted and had a dream. So I wasn't going to leave the English Channel, Dover, with not swimming. There was no way. I had to see what it was out there for us. I had to see if it was really that difficult. It was my dream. I was going to achieve it. Why didn't they take us out? So I talked to other swimmers, which we were training every day together, spending the time on the shore. And I said, let's do a relay. Back then, only a 6-swimmer relay was allowed. 6 swimmers, 1 starts, you're not allowed to change the order. And after every hour, the other one jumps in, passes the other swimmer, and there you go. So because I was the only woman, and because I guess I had the idea of this relay, we called it the friendship relay. And I was the one that was able to start the swim. I was so excited. And we had so much fun, so much fun. After 9 hours and 48 minutes, we touched the Dover Harbor, and our swim was a successful relay. 3 days after, for the next 3 days, I just kept thinking, no way, I can do this. I know it felt good. I had a relay, a successful relay. It felt good. It also made the books, but it didn't even get close to my dream. There was no way, no way. I didn't feel fulfilled. I was not going to leave. So I spoke to a captain and I said, listen, I am prepared. There's nothing out there that I won't be able to beat. I want to have the opportunity to swim the channel. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to wait until you give me that opportunity. So here came the day, August 31st of 85. The captain said, okay, we'll start. So while we were crossing to France on the boat to start my swim, unfortunately, something happened. The motor broke. And for about an hour, the captain was repairing the motor in the middle of the channel. And I mention this because now I know how important it is. And I don't think I've ever knew how important it is until now that I'm a coach. So I started my swim 1 hour later than the scheduled time, 1 hour later than the tides and the currents. But that was for me. I didn't know. So I just dove in. I didn't know it was an issue. I started to swim. I enjoyed every stroke, really, every stroke. I am swimming. I'm swimming the channel. I'm here. I'm happy. I love this. So I never felt the water was cold. I just swam. I was so hungry for it. I started at 8:50 in the morning. Still remember, I would get my feedings about every hour, just a little sip of coffee, maybe some canned peaches, and some encouraging words from my coach. But at 1 o'clock, a big cloud came and was over us. And it was really dark. It got quite dark and I could feel it. It was cold air. And the only thing my coach did is just keep swimming. I will feed you every half an hour. So we did that for a few hours, but then I continued swimming. I swam and swam. I have no idea what I thought about it. I think I thought about all my trips, all my trainings, all my competitions. I was just happy. It was such a happy moment in my life. After swimming, maybe 9.5 hours, close to 10 hours, what did I see? I saw the white cliffs that I was swimming all the time, looking forward to those beautiful white cliffs. I was only 100 meters away. I saw the beach. I saw people on the beach. And I looked up to the boat and I saw the captain lifting up the bottle of champagne. And I knew what that meant. I knew I had conquered the Mount Everest of open water. To be honest, I have no idea what happened next. I have no idea. In the next 2 hours, I can't remember, but this is what I was told. The captain decided to turn the boat. And he decided to turn the boat because I was fighting currents and I was fighting the tides. Yeah, I was probably exhausted. But I swam and swam and swam for 2 more hours. And I couldn't touch. I was 100 meters away, but I could not touch the Dover coast. So when they decide to turn the boat to in a way help me touch the land in Dover, they lost me. And they lost me for a few minutes. My husband tells me that they found me because they used this huge light on the boat. And luckily, I was wearing this little light that actually they were able to find me. Who would have thought? I was swimming back to France. I was totally disoriented. And when the boat got close and tried to catch my attention, I didn't answer. So they pulled me out because it was actually a dangerous moment. When I woke up, probably in the next hour or so, I was laying down inside the boat. First thing I thought, I made it. But I couldn't recollect. I couldn't really think about that moment when I walked out on that beach and grabbed that land. This is what saved my life because they found me. I think a few minutes more, swimming back to France, they wouldn't have thought I was doing that. So what happened? Hypothermia just took away my dream. I thought for many years, I was fighting that feeling inside me, that destiny. The next morning, I went to see the captain and he told me that I had an amazing swim. There was a remarkable swim, but he said something that just really shook me at that moment, and I couldn't get rid of it, that feeling. He said, if we would have left you 10 more minutes in the water, you would have touched the Dover Harbor and it would have counted. You would have made the books. Well, I don't know. I was just upset. Why did it happen to me? Why? What I had done? Why was I not able to reach my goal? So I never went back to swim the English Channel. I swam for another year in fin swimming, and that was it. I married my husband in December of '86, and we moved to Canada. Again, maybe that was one of the things. The Olympics, Montreal, Canada. Yeah, let's move to Canada. Let's start a new life. So we came to Canada and we moved from the big city in Mexico, millions of people, to this tiny rural town in the Okanagan, just a little bit over 3,000 people, Lumby. When we got to Lumby, almost immediately, that very same summer, we started the Lumby Swim Club. I'm very proud to say that that little swimming pool, which opens for 3.5 months in a year, is still running today. It gives an opportunity to the people in that small town to be healthy, to have a healthy environment, and not just the ice arena, but that little swimming pool. There was many, many memories that we have, and I keep very keen. My 4 daughters were born in the Okanagan, and I love that we lived in a farm, very free, very, very free in nature. They're grounded to a healthy lifestyle and to good and positive feelings. I'm very, very happy to say that my 4 daughters have become 4 beautiful women who want to be part of making this world a better world. And they are my drive. So here we are. We lived in the Okanagan for 19 years. We coached, we farmed. I'm a vet, yes. We coached and we farmed. And one day we had a dream to move to Vancouver. Unfortunately, to make that dream happen, many things happened, and we lost absolutely everything in Lumby. We came to Vancouver with 4 daughters, nothing in the pocket. So here we are. We have to start again. We have to start from zero. There was nothing that we were afraid of. We just had one big motive to just keep going and keep pursuing and keep fighting. We were healthy. We had a beautiful family, and we wanted to support our daughters with school and with sport. There was many times now that I wrote all my story, I just realized that for years, I coached 2 adult swim clubs at the same time. I coached 2 children's swim clubs at the same time. I juggled family, making food, driving my kids here and there, swimming, coaching. I didn't swim, but I coached. And many, many years, it was hours and hours of work, but it didn't bother. We were healthy, we were together, and we were achieving a beautiful family. So here came in 2008, came one opportunity that again, it triggered and it started my dreams. I was able to start coaching my first ever Paralympic swimmer, a swimmer with a disability. And for some reason, I don't know what it is. I felt very bonded. And I didn't feel just like a coach. I didn't feel that I was coaching them to swim. I felt that I was adapting swimming to their abilities. I loved it. So I started to coach. I had a swimmer going to the London Paralympic Games. I had swimmers going to the Pan Am Games, the World Championships, Para Championships, and I had swimmers classified for the Rio Paralympic Games in 2016. There was, I have to be honest, and there's a difficult in this swimming, world, to enter the boys club. Me as a woman, as an immigrant, it was not easy. So I was never asked to coach with the team, the national team, or to go somewhere. So I found out a way. I found out the way of just going to the swim meets. I volunteered here and there to be beside my swimmers and see them race. This allowed me to actually meet many people. And while I was translating something, I met my next dream. I was translating for Pedro Rangel, a four-time Paralympian, who, when he met me, he asked, "You are the one that swam the channel? You're that Mexican woman who swam the channel?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, when I had my accident and lost both of my legs, I wanted to climb Mount Everest. And I thought my dream had gone. And my dad said to me, 'No, there's an English channel. You can swim the channel.'" He looked at me. I still remember and get goosebumps at that moment. He looked, coach me to swim the English Channel. I immediately said, yes. I don't know. That night, I could not sleep. I was shocked. How could I say yes to the biggest challenge in open water, to my dream that I hadn't accomplished? I knew what it was. I knew what it took. And I said yes. So the only way I knew that I could make this happen is I've I made history my dream. And this is what we did. So what I did is I needed, I had the need of being in charge of my team for nothing else, just for the reason that it was my baby. It was my dream. It was my swim club. And I wanted to help the swimmers that had a disability without having to deal with anything else. So I started my swim club, which is the Honu Para Swim Team. The Honu Para Swim Team, I should let you know, because you're going to be hearing Honu, Honu, Honu the whole time, is Honu means swim turtle in Hawaiian. To me, the symbol and the name means actually that a turtle on land is very vulnerable. And as soon as it hits the water, it is fast and free. So we had to do a plan, and the plan it was everything towards making that dream happen. The first thing we did is that we did a relay in 2014. That was part of Pedro's training. He had to know what it was, what that channel had for him. So in 2014, we were the first ever Paralympic relay who crossed the English Channel. We got a specific, a beautiful award of merit for it. When we were swimming the channel, it was just, everybody was impressed. The 6 para swimmers swimming, screaming and shouting one at the other. And we were just so happy to do it. The very last minute, what I realized is maybe I put on too much on myself. And I found out now, again, when I think back, is there was a moment where I was the driver, the cook, the coach, the manager, but I was there. I was in charge. And when we were swimming, at the last minute, the guide for my blind swimmer dropped out. I tried to have her swimming. So I used the tapper like in a pool, but that didn't work out. So my captain actually looked around and asked me, said, well, actually, he just said, I hope you have your swim costume with you. What? Yeah. Oh, wow. Destiny. Here we go again. Amber was swimming towards the French coast, and I'm swimming beside her. I had the opportunity to finish the swim with her. Those 100 meters that I didn't do 29 years before, I had the opportunity to touch France. That's another moment that gives me goosebumps. And if you want to feel those goosebumps, there is a documentary called Fearless. You can see that finish. You can see that joy. Absolutely amazing. In 2016, we had 2 relays. If you were putting all this together, we might as well do 2 relays. So after the Rio Paralympic Games, we swam, and we actually had the fastest relay of the season, including able body. We got a big trophy for that. And we also got, again, the Merit Award. That was just awesome. 2017, I had actually 2 spots. What were we gonna do with this? We had to do something new. We had to be the first ones in something. So we were gonna do a double crossing, there and back. The first ever para relay double crossing of the English Channel. Unfortunately, the saddest moment of my life happened. Our swim was going to be in June, and unexpectedly, my sister, the one that dreamed with me and supported me and did all those crazy things like jumping into the cold English Channel, passed. It was the saddest moment in my life. I think it's still, till now, the saddest day in my life. not only did that change all my family life, my sister drowned in her pool. So for months and months, I had a very difficult time to actually be beside a pool. And in order to continue my life, all that 2017, I had to just grab myself, get courage, and get those dreams drive me and make me brave again to be beside the water and continue to follow my dreams. So 2018 came and I was coaching Pedro. He was so excited. His moment had come. His solo was right in front of our doors. He was very excited. When we were on the boat on the night of the 25th, he started at 11:30. But before jumping into the water, Pedro said to me, "Coach, you have to promise that if anything happens to me, you're going to give my bag to my sister." I was just like, "Pedro, nothing is going to happen to you." And he said, "Coach, you have to promise." So I said, "Yes, but we have a deal, Pedro. You have to trust me because I'm going to trust you. If at any moment I find that you're in danger, I'm going to pull you out. You are going to come out." He just said, "No." And I knew. This is why when he started to swim, I was standing right beside the boat. My eyes never left his swim. I was looking at Pedro all the time. I didn't move. The only thing, I cheered and cheered and cheered and encouraged him. He started at nighttime and swam during all that night. I remember it was a beautiful full moon. But sometimes I didn't see him for strokes and strokes and strokes. Then there was a light, the little light popping up and down. Then again, the currents would take him away and he would be far. And I would just say, come in, get closer to the boat." There was very difficult moments. There was moments where actually feeding was the most difficult because double amputees have to make two efforts. One effort is to be floating and the other effort is to move forward. So feeding was a disaster every time because he couldn't hold on anything. He was just floating and trying to get something into him for feeding. There was moments where the water was so choppy that he started to complain about a very bad elbow and shoulder pain. He swam and swam, and suddenly we stopped seeing the white cliffs. We started to see France. And the captain said, "He has to come out." I go like, "No. Why do you think he has to come out?" "Yeah, he has to come out. His stroke rate has really decreased." And I said, "No, Pedro is not going to come out. I will talk to him. The water was so choppy. That's why he's complaining about pain. He has to lengthen his stroke." So I kept cheering and cheering on him. We were getting closer and closer. I was so nervous. We were about a 13-hour swim. Suddenly the captain said, "You have to tell him he has to swim with everything he has left for the next half an hour." I told Pedro. I think we were both lying because I said to Pedro, "Give everything you have for the next half an hour." He had to give everything he had for the next 2 hours. But then Pedro swam into the French shore, and that made history. Pedro became the first ever Paralympic double amputee who completed the English Channel. And this is a dream that keeps driving us now. We want to do more open water swims. Pedro was training for the Tokyo 2020, now 21. We want to do the Triple Crown. We want to find more crazy challenges. Like I say, the biggest challenge there are for people who face a challenge every day. And Our next dream, and this is what I want to share, is that we want to build a center where there's no barriers, where people that have a disability can enjoy all the benefits the water has. Because I truly believe there is nothing more than the freedom someone can feel when they float in the water and they have a disability. So I have to read this. I'm almost done. And I need to read this. I don't remember anything. So thank you for sharing your morning with me. It is truly a wonderful and inspiring thing that despite our current reality, so many of us are able to come together and share our time. Thank you, Creative Morning. I believe in destiny and that there's a reason why I'm here today sharing my purpose. People who know me know that I have always valued our biggest treasure in life, our health. For many years, I have had a dream and have set goals to be a leader, advocating for the feeling of freedom. Life can change in a blink of an eye. I believe that today my purpose is something that can actually be felt around the world. This unprecedented start to 2020 has given the world a very small taste of what freedom and mobility can mean and how it can impact our daily lives. The biggest change most of us have felt in the sudden loss of the freedom of movement, something so many of us usually take for granted. Please, let me ask you to reflect on your everyday lives as we are facing an enemy that we cannot see. Today, we treasure freedom when we cannot go where we want, when we want. Today, when we have to plan to go out and leave the safety of our homes. Today, when there are still so many questions of what will happen. Most of us are getting a small taste of what it is like to be in a world that restricts our movement and access. I ask all of you, what can you do for inclusion? This is my purpose. I hope I can inspire you. Thank you.
If folks are maybe struggling to figure out how to raise their hand, don't worry about the tech. You can write a question into the chat window and we can share that as well. Marianne, my question for you
Yes.
is, do you have immediate plans to do anything like either the English Channel crossing again or something akin, something similar to that with any of your other para athletes, your para swimmers?
Yes, we have many plans. Well, Pedro was training for the 2020 games, Paralympic Games in Tokyo. Those will be now in 21. It is very uncertain what's going to happen. I know they have been postponed. This morning, I got an email from the English Channel, and one of the captains is going ahead and he's postponing with a month, moving the month of the June and July swims to next year, or maybe postponing the whole year. I really liked what he said at the end. He said, please, if we have to move and just move on for 1 year, I want everybody's support to do this because it's your fellow swimmers and you all have the same dream, and there will come the time where you all get your chance. So I was happy to see that people are making adjustments, at least in the little circles. And like what I said, if we can make a change, do it, because we can all make little changes. And that change that will influence the outcome is make the change in your family, with your friends, in your small circles. And then the world will be a better place. So we do have a lot of dreams. We want to do the double crossing of the English Channel with a relay, with a para relay. We want to do something that's called arc to arc. So it would be like it would be hand cycling, and then it would be swimming, and then it would be wheeling, and that would be done with Paralympians, and it would be from the Arc in Paris, Arc de Triomphe, to the one Arc in London. So this is something popular this is something where we could probably find some maybe good sponsors, because we need good sponsors for that. The other plans, Pedro, once he accomplished, and this is something, it's a joke we have between the swimmers. I said, once you try the channel, you get a little bit crazy and you want to do more and more and more. That was at the beginning when they would scream and shout when they dove into the 16 Celsius cold water. Now, all of the swimmers who have done the English Channel, the para swim team, want to do it again. So we're going to do the double crossing. And Pedro wants to continue, and he wants to be the first para swimmer who completes the Triple Crown, which is the Catalina Strait and the Manhattan. He already has the most difficult one, which is the English Channel, in his pocket. I don't know, dreaming big, if this can be accomplished. He would also like to be the first 7 oceans para swimmer. So there's a lot of plans together, while achieving, like I always wanted to achieve our dreams with people that face a challenge.
Yeah.
And we want to create the Honu Center.
Amazing. So we have a few more things here. We're way over time. I just want to be respectful of everybody's time. People are getting on with their day, which is great. So Fred, your hand went up for a second, so I'm coming back to you if you have a question. Think of a good question, Fred. But for right now, I want to ask, someone wants to know, by the way, the thing that I heard in what your answer just a minute ago was, I got an email from the English Channel. Okay, so somebody wants to know if you are selling the beautiful turtle pendants, like the one you're wearing, perhaps as a fundraiser to fund your work. Is that something you're doing?
We will, because it's always been up here in our head. We would like to do this. I think it is, there hasn't been one time when people see my pendant that don't say it is beautiful. It is my lucky charm. It is on my business cards, in my website, and that's a great idea. Thank you so much. We will actually have those pendants, and probably through our website, put them on sale. We will. I shouldn't have said maybe.
Good for you. And speaking of your will, which is clearly incredible, we have a question from Catalina. She would like to know, who's Mexican, by the way, who would like to know what fuels your resilience.
What, sorry?
Fuels your resilience. Why are you so resilient? What is it that burns deep inside of you that keeps you going?
Ooh, I don't know. I've always said I'm quite crazy, but we only live once, and you gotta be crazy to fulfill all your dreams. I know there's many people who call me stubborn, and I've always called myself perseverant. I think that everything that happens in your life, if you're aware or not, builds who you are. And there's just a feeling that, I don't know, it's contagious. I want to help people. I want to smile. No matter what's happening, I still try to put a smile on my face and make it contagious. And we're here once, and I just love to be surrounded by beautiful people and enjoy what we have.
That's amazing. There was another question from one of our, Giselle, the young lady who read the manifesto earlier, and Marga passed this message along. I'm not sure how Marga's Giselle's conduit now. That's great. Wanted to know how you accomplish all of this while raising 4 girls and maintaining a marriage, and what's your secret? But I think you just told us your secret. I think that you just answered that question, which is incredible. Casey mentions in chat, most women who get called stubborn or ornery are labeled difficult. I know you well enough, Marianne. You are in no way a difficult woman. So I want to, on behalf of everybody on this call and all of the volunteers and everyone whose lives you've touched, I want to say thank you for sharing your story. You are the very first speaker in our virtual version of these events, and I think it went fairly well. I hope you enjoyed it. I know you were very nervous, but you couldn't tell. Thank you for telling us that story. For everyone else, I want you to know that there's about 2 hours more of her story. That was the edited version
Oh,
that we could fit into 20 minutes, 25 minutes. She's had an incredible life. Thank you also to Mayeli, can you put your head facing the screen for a second? One of her daughters, who's right there, is our little in-house tech nerd who helped figure out how to get the camera and the microphone and everything to work for us without touching each other. Mayeli and I met the other day, and we stood, like 2 meters apart, disinfecting things, putting them in bags, handing them to each other. She's been very helpful. So thank you, everybody.